Hey everybody, good morning. It is 9:05 in the morning on January 18th, 2021. I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the Walt Disney Company. I'm going to be looking at this from an Elliott wave perspective, and I'm going to be taking a look at it from the dominant pivot low in mid-March 2020. Before I get into any of this, of course, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm giving my opinion on the market. And if you need access to our Discord, there is a link in the video description. You can get access to our Discord server where we talk about trades all day, every day, except for the weekends. But even then, we do talk about crypto as well. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on into the chart. All right, so I've got Disney on here. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a deep dive, so it's going to be kind of a maybe a little unorthodox. But what I want to do again is I want to analyze this guy starting from all the way down here at the bottom and work my way up to where we're at right now to kind of determine where we're at. So I'm going to get my tools ready here, and we're just going to dive right in. Okay, so first off here on the bottom, we can see that there is an impulsive move up and then a pullback. I'm going to refer to that as a 1-2. So just keeping that in mind. But let's also take a look and see if we can find some corrections. All right, we can change the degrees on this later, but I can see I'm just going to mark it off as an A, B, C right now, and I can make some adjustments later. And then also up here, I can definitely see we have a little bit of an A, B, C. And it could be a W, X, Y. I'm not digging in too deep, but really what I'm focusing on is just finding corrections, okay? I'm just finding corrections. That's all I'm really focusing on right now. All right, so I can see we have a nice correction here, nice correction here. Corrections usually come in 3 waves, and so it works. It makes a lot of sense. All right, so the next piece that I have here is I can see we've got a nice little 1, 2, and then we have a move up here to the 3, down here to the 4, and then let's go up for the 5. And let's just check this out real quick. Let's just check and see if this works. So I'm going to take my trend-based fib tool. I'm going to measure wave 1. So again, I'm just going to look over to the right. We get the pivot low there. We're going to take it to this guy up here, and then we'll get the pullback. And we would kind of expect wave 3 to get up here to the 1618. So we did almost tag it here. We did a little bit of a pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Potentially, I'm going to make an adjustment. We've got this 3, and then we've got this 4 down here. I'm going to make a slight change here, and then I'm going to put the 5 up here, and I'm going to show you the reason why I think that that is probably the case. I'm going to remove this. So we've already measured it. Wave 3 almost hit the 1618. It didn't quite make it. We did our pullback, and then we didn't make it all the way up to the 2618, and that would be expected because we didn't quite make the 1618, so we would kind of expect that we wouldn't hit the 2618. One way or another, this looks okay. And also, just to kind of put this into perspective as well, we did not violate this high here from wave 1 when we went in for wave 4. We did not violate that. So that also fits the narrative pretty well. All right. So from here, we've got 5 waves up, a clear 3 wave down. All right, and how deep did we go? We didn't go very deep. Probably to the 236. You know what? We almost made it to the 382. I'm on log scale. Let me move off of log scale. We went to the 382 on arithmetic, so that also works. I'm going to keep myself in arithmetic for right now, and I can make some adjustments later, going back to logarithmic if I need to. Okay, so we've got this. This seems to work okay, and this little guy right here also fits very well, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted this as my 5, as a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's put the 5 there, change the degree. It's going to be on the smallest degree. I'm going to change the color for contrast purposes. So this also works out pretty well. So we've got our 5 waves up in our last 5th wave right there. And then we have a little correction. We corrected down to the 382. All right, so in bullish markets, wave 2 typically would not correct down to the 50 or the 618. Obviously, those are your highest probability trade setups, but we only came down here to the 382. So this correction looks as if it's done. I'm going to move this, change the degree. We're going to try and keep this. I may actually increase the degree on this. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that because I have a feeling once we get into this wave 3, we're going to be digging in a little deeper. So let me just change this to micro. We're going to have that in there. And I believe this guy, based on what we see over here, this is going to be a correction on a lesser degree. All right. So let's go ahead and dig in. From here, I can see that we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to top off right there. I'm going to put this on that lower degree. Okay. So that seems to work out pretty well. Let's check our pullback on this. So again, we're going to be looking here at this C, try and tag that as close as we can, go all the way up there to wave 5. We came down to the 618. Okay, so what is that? So for me, that would be a nice candidate for a 1-2. All right, and then we're kind of working on the 3, 4, 5. We'll figure that out, moving that up a degree. Okay, because now I believe, now that we know that that's a 618, I'm going to remove it. Now that we know that that's the 618, well, we would expect that to have a good reaction on it, especially since we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1, 2, and then we've got a 1, 2. All right, so not to make things too confusing, but what I actually think we're in the middle of is a pretty bullish count. 1, 2, and then this is going to be the 3, 4, 5 that we're in all the way up here on an even higher degree. I'm going to change the color on this guy because this is our most bullish count, or our highest degree count on this guy right now. Okay, so again, we know that we've got this move up, 5 waves up into a 1, and then 3 waves down to the 382 into the 2. Then we have 5 waves up into another 1, 3 waves down to the 618 for a wave 2. So again, we've got a nice bullish 1, 2, 1, 2. We would expect there to be a good bullish reaction on that 618, and there was. So off of this wave 2, we should be going into wave 3, which, looking at our yellow count, right, we've got a 1, 2. We should be in wave 3 starting here. And then on our lesser count here, and let me just change the color of our subdivision. I'm going to move this guy to cyan just for some contrast there. Okay, so we've got our green count 1, 2. So we're in our yellow 3, and now we're in our green 3, and we would expect there to be a significant move up. Wave 3s are always, well, typically the most powerful, and I believe that that is what is happening here. I think we're actually still in the middle of this wave 3. I don't think wave 3 is quite done. Let's just go ahead and do some measurements because I could be wrong. I could be wrong. All right, so again, we're going to take our trend-based fib extension tool. We're going to measure from this bottom to this top, and let's get the pullback. We would expect a move to the 1618 or the 2618. All right, so obviously we pushed way up above, so I actually think wave 3 is going to finish up here at the 2618, which is going to be at about 195. Means wave 5 and wave 3, our ultimate wave 3, is going to be up even a little bit higher. Okay, so now that we've got these measurements in place, I'm going to remove them just to keep the chart nice and clean, knowing that this wave 3 is at the 2618. And let's just put the 3618 on here just so that we can see all of this. I'm going to remove some of these. We'll keep the 2618. Try and keep this clean as much as we can. And I'm going to lower the opacity there and change this to a dashed line just so we can see where it's coming from, but see what those targets are up there. So we're going to keep an eye on this, and I'm going to go ahead and lock this guy because I don't want him to move as I'm going through things. All right, so still looks okay, right? We've got a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then off of this we would expect again there to be a nice impulsive move off of this. So measure this guy, 1, 2. Let's go ahead and get our 1618 on here and see where that 1618 would land. Right there. It's perfect. Okay, it's perfect. So on our lowest degree, it looks to me like we've got a good candidate for a 1, 2, 3, moving back for the 4, going up for that 5. It fits. Actually, it fits pretty darn well. I'm going to move these guys over now. Moving these guys over. Okay, so we're going to be looking for that wave 5 to complete at some point up there. But now we're looking at wave 5 to finish wave 3 up here. Now, how far down are we going to go? Knowing that we hit the 1618, and really that 2618 is sitting up there, but 1618, that's going to be our high probability target for wave 3, which I believe we hit. Let me remove this guy. All right, so now what we're going to do, we need to figure out how far wave 4 is going to go, because I believe right now we are in wave 4 of wave 3 of wave 3. So we're in our blue cyan wave 4 of our green wave 3 of our yellow wave 3 on our highest count. I believe that we're still in the middle of a correction here. So let's take the bottom of wave 2, take it to the top of wave 3. We are bouncing at the 236. I expect that, you know, as long as we don't just start moving up from here, which is possible, I would expect over time to come back down here and retest about 164.50. All right, so from there, you know, again, assuming that we don't just kind of move straight up from here and hit that algo target, which that algo target is 195. The 2618 is at 193.83, right? So we've got high probability that we're going to get some resistance up here. But wouldn't surprise me to see a little bounce up, another push back down, probably happen pretty quick, right? And then we see ourselves moving up into that wave 5 of wave 3 of wave 3. And then from there, wherever we land there, we do that pullback, and then we go up for our high probability upside target. You know, again, we're still looking at a move up to about $200 to $225. All right, but ultimately we've got to finish this correction, finish and put in the wave 4, which, you know, again has a high probability target down here at the 382. On very strong markets, that 236 is going to hold as support. We'll have to wait and see what next week does. All right, but this is kind of what I'm looking at. I do think that we go up higher. Is it worth it to take a trade here? Your stop loss would be about 4.25% approximately. Actually, you'd probably want to give yourself a little bit more. But what I would kind of expect to happen is this guy to do a little bit of a bounce and then continue the selling. And then you're going to say, you're going to hear a lot of people saying, yep, we're going for the gap fill, right? We're going for the gap fill. Well, I'm sure that's what a lot of people were saying here. And did we get it? No, we did not. We came far from it. I would expect that's probably going to be very similar to what's happening here. So this looks okay. This looks okay for us to go up for the wave 5, which is going to be at about 195, right? We have that algo target sitting there at 195, expecting to pull back to the 382. Algo target there at 195. So this looks okay. So we're going to be looking for that guy to finish off wave 3 there at about 195. Because what's going to end up happening is once we get up here to 195, you're going to have the people saying, yep, we're going to break 200, and then we're not. And people are going to be, you know, kind of trying to figure out what's going on, okay? So let's just say for a moment, in a perfect world, we got this 2 down here. Let's just say in a perfect world, we come all the way up here to this 2618. So that's at about 194. Then I think we actually come back down to at least 175, but more than likely 165. What does that mean? That's going to be basically we're going to come right back down to where we entered. All right, that's where we're going to reaccumulate. All right, so from up here, again, we're going to see another A, B, C before we see that last move up. That's the move that you want to get. Okay, there is money to be made here, and actually a pretty decent amount. Let's just check it out. So that's, you know, 17–18% on that trade. Buying at 165, selling at 195, right? That's a decent amount of money to be made there. But how much do we have if we do make it up there, right? Obviously, this hasn't happened yet. But let's say we do top out right there at 194. We come back down here to the 382. These are all, you know, like I always heard in science class, you know, in a perfect physics world, if we do top out right here and we do come back to the 382, well, up here to the 3618, which is going to be our wave 3 target, that's a 35% trade. That's not terrible. That is not terrible. All right, so taking ourselves up to the 3618 really would just be the end of wave 3. We come back for wave 4, and then we go up for wave 5, which is probably what's going to be taking us up to almost $300. Okay, lots can happen between now and then, right? I did a lot of digging here to find this bullish 1-2-1-2, and again, I still think there's more upside here after we pull back a little bit more. But now let's talk about, stop losses. If you're on our Discord server, and by the way, in case you're just tuning in, there's a link in the video description to get access to our Discord server. We talk about stops all the time. I'm not going to hold this guy right forever. I do have, and I always have stop losses in place for risk management. So, as I mentioned, this is for educational purposes only. You're responsible for your own risk, so therefore it is up to you to determine what your risk appetite is. But on our Discord, we talk about managing risk all the time. It's very important to survival in these markets. For right now, I'm going to try and hop in here with a decent risk management strategy. You can look here, let's say 3% would be at a stop at about 160, a little on the other side of 160, 3.5%. That's going to take you there at about 158.58. And if you were to go all the way down here to the 50% at 155, that's a 5.54% drawdown. That's a pretty significant amount. But that's assuming this 382 fails. And that's also assuming that 382 fills, right? If it fills and fails, then you need to manage your risk appropriately. And I don't know that I would put my stop loss at the bottom of this gap. I would be more inclined to get out earlier and get in at the 50 if that is in fact what's going to happen. For right now, I think this is a good candidate for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because again, one more piece of subdivision that I can see here is I see a nice little 1, 2, 3 up here, 4, and then 5 to finish that move on the lowest degree. So that finishes wave 3. Let me just fix this, and I'll clean this up just a little bit, put that up there, move this to right there. Okay, so it all fits so far. It all fits. And again, I believe that we're in the middle of a wave 4 correction, which should take longer than wave 2. This wave 2 on the same degree, this wave 2 took just a few short days, and this wave 4 has already taken about twice the amount of time. It's already taken about twice the amount of time. So that's even better to assume that we may bounce here, right? We may bounce here, but what I'm going to be looking for, I'd really like to get in down here at the 382, if it'll go down there, okay? If it'll go down there, let me go to an hourly chart here for just a moment. Let's just see what our indicator says. Our indicator says we will bounce here. We will bounce here. And so let's just take a look here. Get this guy. Yeah, I think we're still going to get there. I'll move up to the 50, and actually I had this drawn out pretty nice, up to the 50, and then we pull back. So yep, there's probably going to be a bounce. Probably going to be a bounce right where we're at. It's probably going to be good for about, only about 3%. So it's not really a trade that's worth taking right now, unless we find that support here and we go to make those new highs, which is entirely possible that this 4 is actually right here. But really, I'm going to be looking for it to come down here to the 382. But if we do get this bounce, and I think that we will, the daily still indicates that we could be falling a little bit further. So the trade setup isn't perfect, right? Real good trade setups look like this guy down here, right? You had a good buy area right here, and we didn't really have a good trade setup here, but ultimately we had some bullish divergence. So right now, yeah, it looks like it's going to bounce in the next couple days, but the daily indicates that we could be falling back. So this could be very similar to what we had right here, where we bounced and then we fell a little bit further to get those really good fills. And again, we're looking down here at that 164 to 165 range. Maybe you want to layer, whatever you want to do there, that's totally up to you. But ultimately, I think that we will find ourselves bouncing and then pulling back a little bit more. That's going to be the place to be buying, because again, what you're going to have for the unexperienced investors, you're going to have people that are maybe buying here, right? But honestly, they probably bought, up here, and then now they're selling and and selling out of their positions at a loss. And people that are smarter are kind of just being patient. They're not rushing a trade, but they're watching for future opportunities. And that's kind of what I think we have here. So a little bit of a bounce and then a pullback. The people that are buying the blood right here are going to see that 3% rise. Then it's going to go against them, and they're going to be selling, and that's where I'm going to be buying. That's where I'm going to be buying, and I'm going to be taking that trade up to that 195 for a decent gain. Again, from that 382 to that 195, that's almost 18%. Probably will be able to pull 18% out of that. But then again, what you're going to have the people that are saying, "Oh my goodness, Disney's making new highs. I need to be buying," and then it's going to pull back all the way back down here to 164. So what kind of a pullback is that? Well, that's going to be a 15% pullback. What's going to happen there? You're going to have the people that bought all the way up here. It's going to be going against them. You're going to go, they're going to be in at a loss, then it's going to bounce up here. They're going to sell to try and break even as much as possible, right? And then it's going to go down, and again, that's where I'm going to be buying again. All these people that bought up here, they're going to be selling down here at 10-15% losses. I'm going to be buying for the bigger move up. That, my friends, is what I have on the Walt Disney Company from the low to the current price action and where I believe this price is going to be heading. I'm going to be looking for a move ultimately to almost 300. Again, I've got this drawn out all the way out here. Let's just call it 270. So that's going to be a 100% expansion off of this wave 3. We will go ahead and try and take this guy to 270, but more than likely it's going to be going a bit higher. It's probably going to be going a bit higher. But I don't trade something for years at a time. I trade something for weeks at a time. So what I will do, I will take this wave 4, take it up to wave 5, probably will last 2 weeks, do this pullback down here to the 382, and then I will hold this for 225, or as time expires in my mind, right? I want to rotate my money, and although this would be probably a pretty good trade, let's just measure it here real quick. That would be a nice 35% trade to take ourselves up there. But if it doesn't happen within a couple weeks, I'll probably just go ahead and take my profits and run. All right, guys, that is what I've got on the Walt Disney Company. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. If you need access to our Discord, there's a comment there is a link in the video description. You can just go ahead and click on that, access our Discord. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night,